I want to teach you inventory management today. Inventory management is a vital cog in the working capital of any organization. If inventory is managed properly, your working capital requirement will reduce to a drastic. First, let us see the meaning of inventory management. Inventory management is that part of management which deals with the activity of planning, organizing, and controlling inventory in the organization. The meaning is very simple. It has only three important words or terminologies: planning, organizing, and controlling. Now let us see the components of inventory. Any organization you take, there will be five important components. It does not mean all the five must be there. Few organizations will have lesser than these five also. Stock of raw materials, stock of consumables, stock of work in process, stock of finished goods, and stock of spares. Objectives of inventory management. Inventory actually holds around 30 to 80% of the total current assets of any firm. 30 to 80%. 80% is quite a huge sum. Hence, efficient management of inventories is an essential part of any kind of manufacturing process. Not only manufacturing process, even for retail business, the management of inventory is very, very important. The major objective of the inventory management are the number one, the main one, to ensure efficient and smooth production process, followed by to maintain optimum inventory to maximize the profitability, to meet the seasonal demand of the products, to ensure the level of inventory is required, to plan when to purchase and where to purchase. Very important point: when to purchase, where to purchase. Unnecessary purchases can be avoided, and to ensure level of inventories, you know what is going to be your maximum level, your minimum level, so that your procurement does not exceed the limit, as well as it is not very low also, to avoid both overstock and understock of inventory. And one of the major objectives is to avoid price increase in future. Right. Now let us see how the inventory is managed. That is the techniques. We have three broad techniques under which the inventories can be managed. The major or the first or the primary technique which most of the organizations use is through the order quantity. We call it as techniques based on order quantity. Many organizations use the second one, which is the techniques based on classifications of material, and the third one, techniques based on records. If we take the techniques based on order quantity, we have two techniques. One is determining or determination of stock level. Another one is determination of EOQ level. The techniques based on classification of materials, we have various types of inventory analysis. Here I have listed down few: ABC analysis, VED analysis, XML analysis, SN analysis. Then we have techniques based on records, based on inventory report, and based on inventory budget. Now let us see the techniques one by one. Techniques based on order quantity of inventories. If we take the order quantity of inventories, we have around 8 stock levels. We'll start with the stock level at various points. This is basically the stock level which has to be maintained by any organization so that the production activity is carried on smoothly. Let us see the minimum level. Minimum level of stock. This minimum level is a must for any organization to have a smooth flow in the production, because the stock of inventories or the raw materials should never go below this minimum level. Reorder level. When the inventory level reaches this point indicates that we should place the order for the raw materials so that we get the replenishment before the stock level reaches zero or even the minimum level. For this, we have a simple formula. Reorder level is equal to maximum consumption into maximum reorder period. Then maximum level. Maximum level, it is the maximum limit of the quantity of inventories that the business concern must maintain. You cannot hold an inventory beyond the capacity of what you can hold. In case, for example, you take a vehicle petrol, a two-wheeler's petrol tank, it can fill only 13 liters of petrol, which means you cannot have a level which is beyond the 13 liters of petrol. So this maximum level again we can identify using a formula, which is reorder level plus reorder quantity minus minimum consumption into minimum delivery period. Through this formula, you can always arrive at your maximum level of your inventories. Danger level. It is the level below the minimum level. Once you reach this danger level, it leads to stoppage of production. So to avoid stoppage of production, don't go to that danger level. See that your minimum level is maintained. The danger level is average consumption into maximum reorder period for emergency purchase. Then the average stock level. Average stock level is basically the average stock you should maintain at any point of time during the production process. Again, it is calculated using a very easy formula, which is minimum stock plus half of the reorder quantity. Lead time is actually not the level, but it is the concept which we should understand in order to calculate these levels. Lead time is basically the time taken for the goods to the raw materials to be delivered to your place from the time you had placed the order. So the time you place the order, the time the raw material reaches your place, that time interval, that time gap is basically referred as lead time. Safety stock. Safety stock implies extra inventories that can be drawn down when the actual lead time and usage rates are greater than expected. Generally, we have we say the safety stock is that level where it is something which is beyond the danger, beyond the minimum stock level. It is actually it will lead to a larger opportunity cost. The larger quantity of safety stock level always involves a higher carrying cost because we are going to store more than the minimum level. With this, we will continue with the next model or the next model in the level stock level technique, that is the economic order quantity. In economic order quantity, we have four models. Let us first see the very basic model, which is model one, production equal to demand. When your production is equal to demand, which means your annual demand, let us assume through this example, let us assume the annual demand is 12,000, which means your production is also 12,000. Your production is also 12,000. Then you have an ordering cost of rupees 160 per order, holding cost rupees 50 pice per unit per annum. As I have given the demand in terms of a year, the holding cost should also be for a year. In case your demand is for a month, let us have the holding cost for a month. Let us find the economic order quantity. I should tell you what is economic order quantity. It is the quantity of materials which you can procure at the maximum by spending the least cost. Spend low, procure more. This is EOQ. Find EOQ, the number of orders you should place, the cycle time, and the optimal cost. I want to give you the methodology, that is the formula which are going to be used. But before going through the formula, let me teach you with help of Excel sheet or a graph and show you what is basically the EOQ concept. Let us consider a table where I'm going to procure, I'm going to show you the costs involved when I buy the materials. You very well know that in the problem it is told 12,000 units is the annual demand. In case I am going to buy this 12,000 units in one shot by placing one order, I can buy this 12,000 units. I can split this 12,000 into 6,000 units of two orders. Similarly, I can split this into 4,000 units of three orders, 3,000 units of four orders, 2,400 units of five orders, 2,000 of six orders. And we are going to simulate and work out what will be the cost under each and every circumstance. Suppose I'm going to buy in one shot 12,000 units. I'm going to place the order only once, which means only 160 rupees of ordering cost, and my holding cost will be only 3,000 because at any point of time my average stock will be half of how much I procured, which is 12,000. Half is 6,000. 6,000 units, and the storing cost is 50 pies per unit per annum, which means 6,000 into 50 pies is 3,000. As a result, my total cost is going to be 160 plus 3,000, which is 3,160. In case I buy 6,000 units at a time and order two times, that is twice, I will have to spend 320 rupees on placing the order because 160 rupees into two times is 320. And then if you take the number of units I procure now is 6,000, half of which is going to be 3,000, and 50 pies per unit is going to be the holding cost, which is going to be 3,000 into 50 pies, which is 1,500. As a result, my total cost is going to be 1,820. Likewise, if you keep working, you can get the total cost. If you check the total cost, it keeps going down from 3,160 to 1,820 to 1,480 to 1,390. But after 1,390, it starts to shoot up. The moment it's going to shoot up, it will never go down again, it will only go up. Which means 1,390 is going to be the least possible cost, which denotes 3,000 units. If you check this schedule, we can tell that our economic order quantity is 3,000 units by spending 1,390 rupees. Rather than using the term total cost, I can use the term cumulative cost or concern cost, which is ordering cost plus holding cost. Now, if we plot this in a graph, what will happen? You can see the number of units I'm going to place order is in the x-axis and the cost in rupees is in the y-axis. To find the carrying cost or the holding cost is high when I am going to buy 12,000 units, and it is going to be low when I am going to buy only 600 units, which means the larger the quantity I buy, I place order, the higher will be my holding cost, that is carrying and transportation cost. In case of the ordering cost, the more I place order, the lesser is going to be the ordering cost. You can see here in this table, 12,000 units I place order, 160 is the ordering cost. When I place 6,000, it is 320. When I decrease the number of units I'm going to place order with, my cost increases. So my higher the quantity I order, lower is the cost. Likewise, the lower the quantity I order, higher is the cost. Now you can see the total cost, which is the combination of the ordering cost and the holding cost. I have noted this 1,390, which belongs to 3,000 units, which means my total cost is the optimal when my units is 3,000. So this is how we identify the EOQ. But when you do the graph, it is we are not going to get the exact EOQ. The reason is I have taken the rounded values, which is convenient for me to do the calculations. So what we will do, I will give you a formula. When you use the formula, automatically you will get the exact economic order quantity. What is the formula? The formula is here. Square root of 2 AO by C per unit per annum. You should know what is what. Right? EOQ is economic order quantity. O stands for ordering cost per order. This is the O. O stands for ordering cost per order. C stands for carrying and holding cost per unit per annum, which is the holding cost. And the A stands for the annual demand. A is naturally the annual demand. So if you take this particular scenario and work out using this formula, that is 2 into annual demand of 12,000 into 160 divided by the 50 pies, which is the storing cost, we get the EOQ as 2,771.28 units. Approximately 2,771 is the EOQ. It's not 3,000, right? So this is the best way where we can find the exact or the precise EOQ. Once you find the EOQ, you can always find the number of orders, which is obtained by dividing the annual demand by the EOQ, which is 12,000 by 2,771, which is 4.33 orders. Once you find the number of orders, you can find the cycle time, the time gap or the time interval between any two orders. In a year, you have 365 days. If you divide 365 by the number of orders, 4.33, you will get the days, which is 84.30 days, which means every 84.3 days, you should place order, so that you should place the order of 2,771 units. Then what is the cost involved here? The optimal cost is the cost where the holding cost and the storing cost and the ordering cost are kept at the minimum, which was actually reflected when we saw this chart here, which is kept at the minimum. You can find here this point where both are kept at the minimum, and this point is I think is total is 1,390, right, which is around for the ordering cost, which is the red line, which was set here, right, and for the sorry, ordering cost is the blue line, which was set here, and the holding cost is the red line, which was set here, which means more or less both will be around 700 approximately, in 695 approximately. Both will both the holding cost as well as the ordering cost will be 695, leading to a total of 1,300. And that ordering cost you can calculate using this formula. The formula is square root of 2 AOC, because in the a small change in the AOC formula, the carrying and the holding cost, which is in the denominator, is taken to the numerator, and then multiply all, take the square root, you will get the optimal cost. The optimal cost is 1,385.6 rather than 1,390, which was for 2,000 units. Now, as the EOQ is 2,771 units, you have the optimal cost of 1,385 rupees and 60 pies. I think you would have understood model 1. What is model 2? In EOQ, there are basically 4 models. What is model 2? The model 2 is production greater than demand. In the previous case, our production was equal to demand. Now it is production greater than demand. So let us take an example here. Production is 6,000 units, annual demand is 4,000 units. Production 6,000, annual demand 4,000, production is greater than demand. Ordering cost is 200 rupees per order, holding cost is 1 rupee 20 paise per unit per annum. Let us find the same 4, right? But there is going to be a peak in the formula, a small change in the formula. The change in the formula is in this part. In the original formula, we have taken 2AO by C. In the production greater than the demand situation, we will have to include one more part, which is production divided by production minus annual demand. When you do this, we tend to consider the production as well as the demand aspect, and then consider and then calculate the EOQ. Once you work out this formula, you get the EOQ at 2,450 units. Number of orders, automatically the formula is the same. The demand divided by by the number of orders, which is 6,000 divided by 2,450. Oh my God, unfortunately, I've given 4,000 here. Demand is 4,000, correct? 4,000 divided by 2,450, which makes it to 1.63. Then your cycle time is 365 by 1.63, which is 223.92 days, approximately 224 days. Then the optimal cost, as we saw in the previous case, the carrying and the holding cost, which was in the denominator, is taken to the numerator. Similarly, the second part in the bracket, which is P divided by P minus A, is again done with the reciprocal, which is inverted, and then the square root is taken and we find the average cost. The optimal cost is 800 rupees. Then this leads to the third model. I think you would have understood what would have been the third model. First model is production equal to demand. Second model, production greater than demand. Automatically, the third model is production lesser than demand. So in the example problem, I'm going to give you production 4,000 units, demand 6,000 units, ordering cost 200 rupees, and holding cost 1.20 is going to be the same. Let us find the same four, right? But here, when the production is lesser than the demand, you will be given with one more cost, which is shortage cost. Because when your demand is 6,000 and your production is 4,000, you might tend to supply lesser than the demand. When you supply lesser than the demand, you are going to face a cost, a loss. That loss is referred as shortage cost. In this sum, it is given as ₹1 per unit per annum. When you enter into this situation where there is going to be a shortage cost, we are going to replace the older formula with a small change, that is remove the P divided by P minus A and replace that with the shortage cost plus the carrying cost divided by the shortage cost. Once this is incorporated, automatically we will get the EOQ. EOQ is now 2098 units. Once you find the EOQ, the number of orders is very easily calculated, which is demand divided by EOQ, which is 2.86 orders. Again, you can find the cycle time, 365 2.86 is 127.62 days approximately. Finally, even you can find the optimal cost with the same concept. The divide C is now taken into the numerator part as multiplied C, and then the invert the S plus C by C here, like a reciprocal. Once you invert, you will get the multiplication done, and then the square root. Automatically you will end with the optimal cost. In this case, it is 1144.15 rupees. Right. Then you would have thought, what is model 4? Model 4 is actually a mixture of model 2 and model 3, where your production is going to be greater than demand, but you are going to face shortages. Is it possible? It is possible in certain situations. Right. Now let us take an example. Production is 6,000 units. Annual demand is 4,000 units, which is production greater than demand. Ordering cost is 200 rupees per order, which is the same. Holding cost is same. And again, here I am going to bring in the shortage cost, because if you are going to face shortage, you are going to face a loss. That loss is shortage cost. Let us find the same for EOQ, number of orders, cycle time, and optimal cost. EOQ, as we are going to mix model 2 and model 3, in the formula, we are going to bring both the model 2 and model 3 variables here. P divided by P minus A, S plus C divided by S. Once you apply the formula with the values, automatically you will be ending up with the EOQ. The EOQ is 2,966 units. Once you get the EOQ, you will get the number of orders. Once you get the number of orders, you can get the cycle time. Once you get the cycle time, you can move on to the optimal cost. As usual, as I told you, from the divide C, take to multiply C, and then invert both the brackets, P minus A by P and S divided by S plus C. You are ending up with a cost of 1,715.61 rupees. I hope all these four models are very clear. Once the first technique is done, you can move on to the second technique, which is based on classification of materials. That is classification of inventories. I have taken around 6 classifications here: ABC, DED, HML, FSM, GALF, cross analysis. Let us see one by one. ABC analysis is an inventory class categorization technique of materials where it is classified under three categories A, B, and C. What is A class materials? Tightly controlled materials with high cost. It occupies around 70% of the total material cost and only 10% of the total quantity of materials, which is quite opposite. 70% of the cost, but only 10% of the quantity. B class materials, less tightly controlled, medium cost, it occupies only 20% of the inventory cost, material cost, as well as the 20% of the quantity of materials. C class materials, simplest control or control is not that much on this class of material. Cost is very low, it occupies 10% of the total material cost, but accounts to around 70% of the total quantity of materials. Right? So ABC. People usually call it as always better control. Then we have other techniques, other analysis, like for example, VED analysis. Here, materials are classified as vital, essential, and desirable. V stands for vital, E for essential, D for desirable. Under this analysis, vital materials are those materials without which the production process cannot be carried out. Concentrate on these vital materials. And similarly, essential materials where the production can be carried out for some point of time, but not for too long, automatically your production will stop. Desirable materials, whether these materials are there or not, your production can carry on for any amount of time. Then the next type of analysis is HML analysis, which is high value inventory H, medium value inventory is M, low value inventories or materials, which is L. Under the analysis of under high value inventories, uh, the H category are very highly priced. Medium value, that M category is medium price, and low category or low value is the L category, where the material is very lowly priced. FSM analysis, here FSM stands for fast moving, slow moving, non moving. Fast moving materials, under this analysis, the materials are classified under F category because they have a very high turnover and get exhausted at a very fast rate. Slow moving materials, they move very slowly, and for them to get exhausted, it takes quite some time. Non-moving materials are categorized as N, and these materials are there in the inventory for a very long time and never seems to exhaust at all. Then you have an analysis called as GOL. GOL stands for GO, L, and F. GO means government organization, where you can procure the materials only from the government organizations, and you cannot procure from any other organization. Local organization is L, where you can buy from any organization which is located inside the country, within the country. And F denotes foreign country, where the material is basically not available locally in the country, which has to be imported from some foreign country. Then we move on to cross analysis, where I can take any two classifications and have it in a matrix, in a table, and then do the analysis. I have taken a small example here for a better understanding. Let us take the essentials which are there in the house or in a hotel, which is the hotel where they are going to cook food, where they are going to buy materials for preparing the food. I have considered two classifications, that is FSM, fast moving, slow moving, non moving on the row, and vital, essential, desirable on the column. To take the vital, there are rice, dal, and salt. Rice is fast moving, dal is slow moving, and the salt is non moving. Essential materials are again into three categories: fast moving, slow moving, and non moving. Oil, ghee, and spices. Similarly, desirable, fast moving, atta, slow moving is suji and nuts. Um, then we can move to the third technique, which is technique based on reports and budgeting. Here, inventory report. We can we can generate inventory control report through three three important techniques. The first technique is the stock book technique. Our efficient control system will actually lead us to better inventory management. When we have a stock book track inventory, which is done manually, it can be done only by a small businesses basically. This can give us an effective way of finding out or identifying how the material is moving, how it is managed. Then we have barcodes and RFID tracking, which allows the material to be tagged and tracked, which can be done by large organization. And then you have an inventory software where you can always identify the stock on hand, how much is left out with us. Then you have a second method which is called as inventory valuation report, where the inventory is valued based on two techniques. Right? Inventory valuation report is basically shows the cost associated by for procuring, holding, and transporting the inventory. The two techniques which are used is specific identification cost and the average cost. The average cost has two techniques, which is simple and weighted. Specific identification cost has the specific cost which is tagged to that particular material. Then we have an overall inventory performance. Through this overall inventory performance, we can generate a report using different metrics we can compare from the previously collected data. We can always do three important methodology, follow three important methodologies here. The first one is item fill rate. The percentage of product from a customer's order your business ship, the higher the item fill rate is, the better the inventory performance. You can use this technique. Then you have inventory accuracy, how far our regular inventory count cycle is done. The discrepancies can be checked and it can be reduced to a large extent, right? And then the inventory turnover, which is the number of times inventory stock is replaced in a given period. The higher the rate, the less time the inventory stock sits on the shelf. The more the turnover, the shelf life is lesser. Then you have inventory forecasting report. Through this report, we can always identify our projected sales, what is the projected demand, what is the projected sales, then through which we can always identify the various levels. Again, we can avoid overstocking and understocking scenarios. And this is possible only when we understand certain variables like lead time, safety stock, year of time, etc. to forecast accurate. We'd have understood uh, inventory management through this PowerPoint presentation. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you very much.